The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Welcome to the 15-Point Plan podcast. My name is Ryan Gregg, and as always, I'm here with my amazing co-host, Jacqueline Smith. The 15-Point Plan, it's simply a system, and what we know, Jacqueline, is systems make us ordinary folks extraordinary. It's a way that you will have a checklist. It's a way that you will turn from average to superhuman by doing these small little things stacked up over time. Things like watching your water, things like moving your body, things like getting some time for journaling or for meditation. And when doing these things consistently, you really have a higher level of energy and a lower level of stress. Right, Jacqueline?
Absolutely. I'm laughing because you said us ordinary folks extraordinary, and I was like, who are you talking about? Because we're all extraordinary here, right?
That's right. That's right. But I think that a reason why I feel extraordinary is because we do these things. And we're just normal folks, but we're normal folks that care a little bit, maybe care a lot about how we feel. I love that quote, your energy is your currency. And so if we know that our energy is our currency, how are we showing up in the world? And are we coming with like the most potential energy that we could have? And today, sometimes, Jacqueline, like we get this like, oh, Ryan, well, your voice was so much better the way you did. Oh, Ryan, I don't want to add one more thing to my life with the 15-Point Plan. It's like one more thing. Like I got a kid, I got a partner, I got work, I got this, I got that. But to add one more thing is not something I want to do. But today we're not talking about adding something, right?
No, we're talking about subtracting things. Who wants to do less things? Me.
Me.
I want to have less things. Yeah, so it's something that we hear often when we're fans of this 15-Point Plan, and whenever someone's having like a hard time or they're struggling, I do bring it up. So I'm not the friend that's going to be like, let's eat some donuts and drink some wine and talk about it. I'm going to be like the friend that brings you, how about a solution that will help you feel better? And so many people, maybe by the time they're talking to someone about it, they're just like exhausted and like burnt out or on the verge of burnout. And the thought of having another thing to track, they're just like, no way. And I think about all the things that people do track, for their business, for example.
Yeah.
And I said this to someone that I worked with yesterday because we were talking about tracking our food. And I said, if you're willing to track all these things for your business, would it not make sense that you'd be willing to do it for your health, for your energy, for your like overall vitality? And so Ryan and I were kind of kicking around some ideas. And I think as humans, like if you're anything like me, you might maybe come up with a list of things that you don't want to do or that you don't do. A lot easier than maybe you can think of like, what do you want? And, when someone asks me that, well, what do you want, Jacqueline? I don't know, but I can tell you like 500 things I don't want. And so we thought, what if we went through the 15-Point Plan? And for anyone that feels like either you rejected the 15-Point Plan altogether because it's just like too much because you already have so much on your plate, or maybe you've actually done the 15-Point Plan, but you missed, consistently certain points on the 15-Point Plan. Well, let's make a list of things that we can give up for each one that would make space for these good habits that will actually help you feel more energized, more focused, and probably a lot happier and maybe a more fun person to be around. So that's kind of the focus for today is like, what can we subtract to make space for these 15 amazing habits that will change your life?
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's interesting, Jacqueline, like your friend or colleague that you mentioned, like, yeah, I track everything in business. You could ask somebody like that, well, what would happen if you didn't track it?
Yeah.
What would happen if you didn't track your profitability? Or what would happen if you didn't track your expenses? Or what would happen if you didn't track your calls or your sales? And they'd probably look at you like, well, my business would be a mess. And like, I would have no idea what I'm spending and I have no idea how much money I'm making. And it's like, so if you felt that way about your business, imagine how that could impact your life. And if you did that with your life and had a higher sense of awareness and accountability with your life, do you think that might then in turn affect your business, which you care about so much? Because I think it could
Yeah.
very well. So yeah, talking about taking things away, subtracting things. You mentioned like, well, Ryan, like I like your idea of this wall calendar, but I would have to lose one of my beautiful wall spaces. I would have to lose one of my things. And like, so I've been, speaking of tracking real quick, I've been tracking my weight. And since the new year, I've been writing my weight every day on that wall calendar. So, and that sits on my wall on my walk to my kitchen. So I have to walk by there multiple times. And I'm not super particular on like losing a bunch of weight, but I'm trying to cut a little bit of weight before this expedition in a couple months. And so I've been writing that every single day on there. I have to walk by it. It is right in my line of sight to do that. So now talk about subtracting. Like I am relentless with tracking my calories right now. I had to subtract my desserts, Jacqueline, and I really don't like doing that, but I have a strong enough why attached to it. So having that calendar now is something forcing me to look at every single day, every single time I walk into the kitchen, knowing I got to write my weight on there the next day.
That's good. I mean, I don't want to do that, but no, I'm just kidding. Hey, so what we wanted to do is like go through each of these 15 points. And so what he's talking about is goals, because I shared with him, I really like having everything look pretty. And so one of the things I might have to give up is my preference for like form over function, and like have a space in my house where I would have this calendar. But some other things that you could give up in order to make space to write your goals out every single day is just like scroll on social media after you write out goals. So you're not even like eliminating it, but maybe you're reducing the amount of time that you spend on it. And so that's something that you could like eliminate. And I bet you that one's going to come up on like a lot of these. Like if we would just replace some of our social media time, we would be healthier, happier, and more focused. So giving up some of your time scrolling to write your goals out every single morning. The second thing is movement. And so, I mean, I'm going to say that one. I mean, you could sit on your couch and scroll, or you could go get a walk in, even if it's like pitch black like it is here in the Pacific Northwest. Like just go to a gym, if you don't have a treadmill or something that you can do at home. There's so many YouTube videos, though. You can do like some 20-minute movement. We're not telling you like fast from TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, remove all the apps and no TV for you. We're talking about like reducing it by 20 minutes to make space for something positive. So that's movement. What about hydration, Ryan? Like, what are some of the things you've had to give up in order to replace it with water over the years? Because I know you're a big hydration guy.
I think a lot of us can probably look at what we're drinking other than water and ask ourselves, instead of that, could I have water? Mm-hmm. In other words, like, do you drink a soda with a meal? Do you drink juice? Like, let's be real, I'm not giving up my coffee for water, but I'm drinking water before I have my coffee. I'm drinking water after I have my coffee. Mm-hmm. So I think easy way to subtract something would just be looking at your daily habits and asking yourself, what would happen if instead of that, I just had a glass of water? And maybe have a glass of water before you eat. Because oftentimes we're not as hungry as we think. We're dehydrated. And if we drink some water, it's going to fill us up a little bit more. We might not eat as much if that's a goal of ours. By the way, you want to know one of my favorite drinks, Jacqueline? is tart cherry juice. You ever heard of tart cherry juice? You got to make sure you get the no sugar added. Mm-hmm. Tart cherry juice. It's high in magnesium, which is going to help you sleep. So my go-to beverage with dinner is a mineral water. I especially like the Jarritos Agua Mineral. So it's just mineral water, bubbly water, no sugar, with like maybe a quarter cup of tart cherry juice. It's going to flavor it. You can put some lemon in there too. And it's basically like a soda to me. So I'm not getting any calories from like a soda. It's bubbly water and it's got magnesium in it, which is going to help you sleep. So asking ourselves, what are we drinking that we could cut and maybe have a glass or two of water instead throughout the day?
Yep. Okay. Sleep. Here's one. You can't watch the next episode of whatever show you're binging on Netflix or Prime. Like, we've got to like turn things off earlier in the night so that we can make space for more sleep. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, you just have to. And again, like you said, I think that scrolling or social media in general is probably a culprit for so much of this. And I think I've mentioned this before. And I literally delete the Instagram app off my phone. The reason for that is because when I want to go to Instagram, I need to be intentional about it so that in the morning, like I don't just check it and 15 minutes go by and now I'm like, oh gosh, I didn't mean to do that. It's like if I want to make an Instagram post, I have to go to the app store, I have to download the Instagram app, and then I have to do it. And then I'll check it for 10, 15 minutes and then I'll delete it. It takes me that one extra step that will help me not do those things like social media as mindlessly as I might otherwise. So if you have a hard time and you think, gosh, I scroll often and I'm just doing these mindless things and I just check it, just remove it.
Yeah. And if you don't want to be like hardcore and remove it, like me, what I have is I have an alarm in my phone. At 8 p.m. it goes off and it just says start winding down, get off the phone. And that goes off at 8 p.m. every single day. So like that's kind of like my cutoff. So that's another option. So get rid of some of the scrolling to make room for sleep, because sleep is one of the most important building blocks for your health and your energy. Okay, well, nutrition. Here's one thing that some of you need to give up. I think we have people in different camps, but one thing some of you need to give up is not going so long between your meals. Like, I'm sorry, but no one wants to deal with your hangry butt. So, like, seriously, we got to plan better and have some food, like good food, please. You know, my husband and I, sometimes we argue, and it's almost always because one of us is hangry or both. It's like not good if we're both. But, and when you're hangry, you don't believe that you're hangry.
Right.
It's like, you know, it's kind of like PMS. Like, no one wants to admit that they're hangry when they're hangry. And so like sometimes we'll just be like, okay, why don't you have something to eat and then we'll talk, you know? So give up going so long between your meals. And then also maybe you need to give up something. I do it on Sunday, like late afternoon evenings, where I give up some of my relaxing time and I throw on an audiobook or a podcast or something and I do my meal prep. And that allows me to give up doing like food and dishes and everything during the week. So it actually saves me time, but I do have to give up. Like, I want to be a lump on a log on Sunday night. Like, I don't want to do anything, but I'm willing to give that up so that I have more space during the week and I have better food options. And I saw your post about meal prepping, and it was really good about how like you don't have to go through this whole like fancy meal prep, just like whatever you're making for dinner on Sunday, just like make extra and weigh it out, put it in your containers, and then you're going to be so happy that you did it.
Yeah. And I think what you have to or could consider giving up too is convenience and complexity. In other words, if I feel like, oh my gosh, I don't want to eat the same thing every day, so I'm going to go out to lunch. Well, A, you're going to spend a bunch of money. And B, it's this idea of, I don't want to meal prep on Sunday and I just want the convenience of going to get food during the day. Now you're losing control of your life because now you have to go to a restaurant or go to the market or go somewhere. You have to spend time going to do that. You have to spend money going to do that. And like you said, like on Sundays, like I eat very much the same thing for lunches while I'm working. I'm okay with that. I'm okay giving up complexity of having something different every day. But I love making those meals on Sunday night. And that's just what I eat for dinner on Sunday night. And I make it times 5 or times 4 or whatever. And now I got meal prep for the week. So giving up this convenience and complexity of needing to have a bunch of different things throughout the week It will make it so much easier for you, and I know exactly what I'm eating every day for lunch, and it's in the fridge, and I can heat it up, and I can eat it, and I don't need to take an hour lunch because that's one of my 6 or 7 hours that I wanna work for the day. I wanna eat and keep going and stay fueled and keep performing at a high level.
Yeah. Okay, the next one's supplement. So, what would you have to give up, I guess, to like add supplements? I don't know on this one. What do you think?
That's a
I
good
mean, just
question. I don't really know what we'd be giving up. I guess you'd have to give up the idea that you think everything's okay. You have to give up the idea that, you know what, I'm okay. I get all my vitamins and minerals and micronutrients through the food that I'm eating. Give up a little bit of that idea thinking that you get everything you need just through food. Maybe you have to give up, we've talked about this, maybe you have to give up a little bit of time to go get some blood work done and know what these supplements will really help you on. But supplements, I mean, I think it's such that can take you what, a minute or two a day to get that done. So that's not a high level
yeah,
consuming thing as far as time goes. But
yeah.
it is influences. And again, back to social media and the people that we spend our time with.
hmm Yeah, I was talking to a friend a little while ago, and she was sharing with me, like, she's in this group, text or whatever, and she's like, I just realized, like, these people are kind of negative. And I was like, well, then I'm sorry, but no one's immune. So yeah, you're going to have to probably give up. And it's not like you don't have to love them. Like you can love them from afar, but you're going to have to give up some people probably in your life that just are not serving, you and that are actually kind of like crabs in a bucket. And so giving up some relationships is required sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, you really do. It's interesting, Jacqueline, as we're going to a birthday party this weekend for the boys and a couple teenagers, right? And we said, hey, are you going to invite so and so? And they're like, no, we're not going to invite him. I was like, well, why not? I thought he was your friend. He's like, he's just going to be on TikTok all weekend. And I was super proud because they
Mhm.
realized like, I don't want to be around somebody that's not really present, not really fun, and just constantly on social media all the time.
That's
Like,
crazy good.
good move. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good move. So what about journaling? I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, I got to give up a little bit of sleep. If I
Mm,
want to knock out a 5 minute journal, I got to give up that snooze button. Like, I just got to get up a few minutes earlier. I did my journal in like 3 minutes this morning,
mhm.
writing down what I'm grateful for and who I want to be for the day and what I'm thankful for before it happens and like really what I want to attract. You knock that out in 3 to 5 minutes. But if I keep hitting that snooze button, I lose that time. So I guess you got to subtract the snooze button and maybe just a few minutes of sleep, which that's not going to impact your overall sleep.
Exactly. And same thing I think with mindfulness, like, if you want to have a little more space and mindfulness in the morning, then you probably are going to have to like think about if you're a snoozer, I'm sorry, there's people that get like 5 of these points while you're just snoozing. And so if you're feeling in the dumps in your life, in this season or whatever, and you are rejecting something like the 15-point plan, but yet you're spending time snoozing in the morning, scrolling on social media. This isn't a shame thing. It's just like, I'm sorry, but you are choosing to stay in that slump. Like
Yeah.
that's what you're choosing when you're choosing those things. And I know it's not easy. It's easier said than done, but like, I don't know, Mel Robbins, like what, 5 4 3 2 1, like get up in the morning, like you will feel better. You're just like perpetuating, the negativity, which our next one is gratitude. What would you have to give up? What about like complaining to your spouse or
Right.
to your friend? Like maybe instead of complaining, you give that up and you talk about things that you're happy about and see how you feel.
I think so. And I think you got to give up a little bit of a expectation that like everything is going to be perfect in life and just a reality check of like, you know what, everything's not perfect, but you know what, dang it. Like I woke up this morning, I got some cool people around me. I got a roof over my head. I got good food in my fridge. Like there's a lot to be grateful for instead of, oh, well, like I'm angry because of this. But I got a question, Jacqueline, like, so when your alarm goes off in the morning, are you an alarm person or do you just like rise and shine magically?
Oh, I'm an alarm person, but sometimes I'm a weirdo like today and I woke up for whatever reason. I mean, I did go to bed at a good time last night and I got up at 3 And I know that I'm either going to fall back asleep and then feel like, I don't know, I always feel worse when I fall back asleep, when I only have like an hour or two of sleep left. And so I actually just like got up and I was doing some journaling and, sometimes I just wake up at like weird times, like 3 or 4. Or if I woke up at like 1 or 2, I would have like forced myself to go back to sleep. But like, if I'm supposed to get up at 4:45 and I get up at 3, sometimes it's just better for me to get up. Like I have more energy in the day.
Did you have any higher level thoughts during that time this morning? Like you said you journaled. Were there any moments like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that, or like
um I don't know. I mean, I'm writing right now. I'm really focused on writing because I want to write a book, and so I'm just making the habit of writing every day, which I do normally write, but I'm really working on consistency with it. So I have to like think back to that.
Well, the reason I asked is because there's a lot of studies actually that talk about that hour, like this hour
Oh,
between
really?
3 and 5 a.m. Yeah. And a lot of cultures around the world really believe that that is a kind of a magical time because it's just the silence before the world wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
And very few people are awake, and like even animals aren't awake yet. And so during that time is when some people might say you'll get these universal blessings, you'll get these universal rewards or gifts because you were up before everybody else. And that's where these ideas can really come to you. So sometimes when you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you're sitting there, you go, oh my gosh, like these quote epiphanies come to you, but it's because the world is just silent and you're getting these kind of neat gifts or blessings. But what I was getting at was like the alarm and the snooze button. Like my guilty admission is I hit the snooze button.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I do that is because I found it's this like what's the word where you're sleeping like not I can't remember the name of sleeping. It's not REM sleeping, but it's the brain state that you're in. And I actually really like that state where I wake up and then I fall back asleep just for a quick second and I'm snoozing. Now I do it for like 15 minutes, so I don't oversleep my alarm and keep hitting snooze, but I do enjoy that time because it's like a warm up to my meditation for me. So guilty admission, I'm a snoozer.
I snooze sometimes too. It's usually when I woke up and then I go back to sleep. Like if I wake up at 3 and or like 3:30 or 4 or something and I don't get up, then it's like I definitely snooze my alarm those days.
So for our listeners out there, give that a try. I challenge you. If you wake up, like Jacqueline said, not at like midnight or 1 a.m., don't get up. But if your alarm goes off at 6 and you wake up, quote, magically wake up at 4:30, like get up. See what happens if you were to get up and you were to actually just journal or put a pen to paper of some sort. Maybe there's something that you're really like destined to write in that moment. So
Yeah.
give up that sleep a little bit if you need to and get your body going. Why not?
Okay, laugh is the next one, which I think is kind of similar to gratitude. Like give up like literally 30 seconds of complaining and just start laughing. What if like every time you catch yourself complaining, you just have to laugh for 30 seconds? Like I think I'm gonna make that my rule for the next like month and see how that goes. Like maybe I'll put like an elastic around my wrist or something to remind me. And then I'll tell my husband, like, if I complain to you, I have to laugh for 30 seconds. He's going to love it. I'm actually kind of excited. I just came up with that right now.
I like it. And what if, like, you mentioned your husband, like, what if with our partners or spouses, we just said, hey, if we're getting too serious, can we take a moment and laugh? Like, if we're getting into a conversation, by the way, you're probably just, or I'm probably just hangry. So can you be like, hey, dude, you're hangry, freaking eat something and calm down. And
Yeah.
can we pause for a second, laugh? Like you said on a previous podcast, like hold hands and look each other in the eyes, laugh for a second, and then carry on with the conversation. That might be a totally different result.
It's a good idea, too. Okay, learn. What do we have to give up to learn? I mean, I feel like we're kind of finding a theme here. Netflix, social, just like, yeah, thinking you know it all.
Yeah, right. Yeah, good point.
Maybe feeling like you don't have time to learn, like this, maybe you have to give up the story that you tell yourself, that you don't have time to learn. Or the next point on the 15-point plan is hobbies. Maybe it's the same for both of those, like giving up that story that you don't have time. Just like, who decides that? Like, who made the rule that you don't have time? You did. You're the one that made that rule. So just change it. Like, make time. Like, make 15 minutes to do something that you love, and or to research something that you want to learn about, or a hobby that you want to learn about. It's not hard.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to wrap this, Jacqueline, is one thing that we might need to subtract or remove if we want to grow or add these things. We just need to give up the old you. We need to give up the old version of ourselves. We need to give up that story, like you said, that, oh, I'm this or I'm not that. Says
Yeah.
who? We can all change. So what if we decide, you know what, I'm going to give up that story of what I was in the past because I want to be somebody different in the future. And I think that could apply to any one of these. So asking yourself, what do I got to give up? What in my life, where can I subtract a couple things to add the things that were going to make me that aspirational person like Brendan Burchard talked about a couple episodes ago? Be the aspirational person. What do I need to give up in order to not be my minimal self anymore? Give up that story. It doesn't serve you any longer. Give it up.
Yeah. Let's write a new story in 2026.
That's right.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If you heard this episode and it resonated with you, send us a message. We're on social media. Well, Ryan is sometimes. I'm always on there. Jacqueline Ray Smith and Ryan Park Gregg. I would love to hear from you on what you're giving up in 2026 in order to be the next version of you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye, everyone.